Since last August, we started this process. We finally have an agreement with our current trash provider, E.L. Harvey and Sons. We looked at some other carriers or vendors. They weren't as viable as E.L. Harvey was, so we've chosen to move forward and sign a new contract with E.L. Harvey. With the new contract comes new prices, and it should be no surprise that in the last 5 years, prices for the service have risen and prices will go up. The good news is we will be providing trash and recycling carts to the residents that participate in the program. A 64-gallon size cart, which is the larger one for recycling, and the 35-gallon size cart for trash, which is equal to 1 bag of trash. And I'll demonstrate that later so people believe me. Bottom line is, and we've set some fees, and the fees for a single-family home will go up by up to $410 for the year. But keep in mind, included in that $410, 1 bag of trash that can fit in your cart that you no longer need to buy a sticker for is embedded in that annual fee. So fees actually rise by $158 a year for the collection cost. The per bag cost stays the same.
1 bag of trash weekly.
1 bag of trash weekly. So per bag fees stay at $1.50, and the collection cost rises to $158 a year, which works out to $13 a month in increase. Or $3.04 a week in increase.
How much is that a day?
I didn't break it down to a day, but the monthly cost for those that want to look at private haulers is $34 a month on average for 1 bag of trash, which is very competitive. So we looked at a lot of different scenarios, and we worked on the bell curve. So where can we get the majority of people that we can provide a cost-effective program for, and that's with the 1 bag of trash, and we feel that it's more cost-effective than a private hauler would be for the majority of people. There's some people who put out a bag once a month. That might not be the best for them, and there's some people who put out 6 bags. Private haulers is probably the better for them, but we think that we can provide a good program, and we hope that we're able to do that. Also, the annual recycling pass is included in that monthly fee, and yeah, that's where we're at.
To answer your question, Mr. Noble, 43 cents a day.
Knew that was coming. Mr. Kelly.
So E.L. Harvey was our pick based on the fact that they've been doing a great job for us service-wise, but were they also the low-cost bidder?
Cost and performance. So as far as, there's not a lot of choices out there anymore. When I started this 25 years ago, you could get 10 different people to bid on a contract. Nowadays, there's 4 big players out there, or 5 big players, but I don't count one because I wouldn't use them. There's 4 big players out there. All of the companies have been bought up, and there's 4 big companies that control the companies. Out of those 4 companies, E.L. Harvey provided us a quote. One did not want to provide us a quote, did not feel that they wanted to provide us a quote. One said they needed 9 months to provide us a quote. They wouldn't have been my top pick anyway, based on past performance. We've used them in the past. The benefit with using Harvey is they have a truck and they have a driver. So generally, when you use an existing, they don't have those added additional costs. I looked at Harvey's costs. I think they're fair. I think we beat them up a little bit. I think they're as good as we can get, and I think it's a fair price for the town.
Mm-hmm. And then in terms of the recycle being larger than the trash, is there an option for a larger trash as well, or multiple
Not at
trash?
this time. So this is the structured program we're going to start with, and we need to see where there might need to be adjustments. So at this time, we're going to keep the 64-gallon recycling cart, the 35-gallon trash, and then there's an overflow bag option. So if you put out 2 bags a week, 1 bag you would put in the cart, you wouldn't have to buy a sticker for, and then you do the exact same thing you're doing now. You'd put it in a 35-gallon size bag with a $1.50 pink sticker on it.
Yep.
It doesn't change.
Okay.
What changes is, for the majority of people, they won't have overflow bags. they'll be able to fit it into the 35-gallon size cart. The benefit of having the larger recycling cart is, you know, I see people carrying out their little blue bins or this and that. Sometimes once that blue bin's full, it's like, I'm not putting out another bin. So hopefully this will increase recycling because there's more capacity. We will be watching for contamination and stuff that shouldn't belong in the recycling cart, because that just affects our costs in the long run. But, you know, when Attleboro moved to this exact program a bunch of years ago and went from what Plainville had, the bag and the different containers, and I looked at that 35-gallon size cart and said, no way. And there was a lot of anxiety and a lot of pushback at that time for the city of Attleboro. And I think I put out now, if I do a clean out of my house, maybe 1 or 2 overflow bags a year. I've never had a problem with adjusting, and it took a little adjustment to the 35-gallon size cart. So I think it will be a good program, a cost-effective program for the majority of people that need us to provide a cost-effective program. And then, like I say, you have the option for the overflow bag. So I hope people give us a chance before they, you know, try and run. Private haulers are not going to be cheaper than us for the majority of people.
Just for some clarification, Ms. Revelle has a 2-person household, so we know that some people are going to exceed the 1 bag, obviously.
Absolutely, then that's the overflow.
The second thing is, if you went with the larger container and had the 2 larger matching containers, you would have to pay for that larger container's tipping fee, whether it's used or not. So to try to keep it the most economical, we figured this will serve the purpose for most people, and then we'll have the additional trash bag. And the third point is the one trash hauler that was not under consideration performed extremely poorly in other municipal situations, and therefore was excluded.
And I can demonstrate. I brought props. So this is your 35-gallon size bag of trash. And yes, we do, and one goes in here. This is recycling.
It's from the cafeteria here.
I can fit all those bags, and if you actually kind of load this right a little bit, you might be able to snug a little bit more in, because you have a little bit of capacity in the lid. So, as small as it looks, it holds a 35-gallon size bag of trash, and they're pretty easy to push around. That's my demonstration. And you cannot put recycling in plastic bags.
Thank you, Deb. Ms. Clark.
So logistically, how is this gonna work? We send in we get our bill, we send in the payment, do we pick up the bins, are the bins
No.
delivered to us?
So payment, will send out the bills.
Okay.
And it says it clearly, it will say it clearly on an info sheet.
Okay.
That we send out with the trash bills. Payment must be received by June 16th.
Okay.
And we'll schedule delivery. The barrels will be
Okay.
delivered to your house. You do not need to pick them up.
Okay.
So once payment is received, E.L. Harvey will get a list on a regular basis, and we'll roll these out on a regular basis.
All right. What happens to the trash that is on the curb for the people who have not participated yet in this program, who maybe missed the memo? I mean, I just worry, are we gonna have a lot of trash out on the streets?
Well, same thing that happens now. You don't pay a bill, you don't
Okay,
get picked up.
okay, yep, okay.
And generally, people come running down pretty quickly. to
Okay, I guess that motivate,
pay
yeah,
the bill.
okay, all right,
And it's not a big change.
okay. And just, thank you, Debbie, you've done a fabulous job with the trash program all the years I've lived here, and I
25 years.
I
doing
know
this
that
trash. It's changed a lot.
it has changed, but I know that you watch every single penny, and I appreciate that, so thank you.
Okay.
If I may, Mr. Selectman,
Yeah.
in addition to these being delivered to your house, if there's any damage or broken bins, they will be picked up, repaired, and replaced. These are rental situations, so you don't technically own the barrels themselves, but they will be maintenance-free for the people, and you do not have to pick them up.
I don't know, that was one of my questions, actually. I assume that going to these containers will help them improve the level of automation that they're using and picking up the trash a little bit.
So You know, the trash haulers are pushing forward. It improves the level of automation, reduces injury. We had a catastrophe when Pete, our driver, was a big, strong guy, got injured from trying to empty trash and recycling bins and was out for quite a while. And Pete's a big guy and he could pretty much pick up anything. Unfortunately, the replacement they sent in was not as big as Pete, and he couldn't do what he did. Our rule has always been 35 pounds, 35 gallons, but over the years, people have kind of gotten a little bit bigger than that, and you know, that's why automation and the bag weight size is important.
Right.
It also will help, hopefully. It's a nice solid container. We encourage people to use it. Prevent a rodent or wildlife issues from dogs from breaking into the bags, kind of clean that up a little bit.
Which is a benefit as well.
It is definitely a benefit to reduce rodent activity.
Before I open up, anything else further from, okay. I would encourage people to ask a single question, feel free, and Mr. Bergevine, go ahead.
By the way, you do a great job. I appreciate it. Here's where my South Street. When you sit on the bulk program, if you call them for a couch or a chair or a table,
We'll still have the bulky program.
On Friday.
What's changed, unfortunately, is you will now call E.L. Harvey to schedule the pickup and pay them directly.
okay.
Bulk prices have increased. It's probably one of the most dramatic increases that there is in the program. Still cheaper than if you were to call a private hauler to come out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Whiting?
Are these going to have the Plainville logo on them?
They are not, because we do not own them. If we were to own them, then it would cost more money. You'd have to stamp the Plainville logo. These are E.L. Harvey carts. They're on rent to us, basically, and they will not have a Plainville logo on them. If I own these carts, that means I maintain them, I repair them, I replace them. They don't fit in the back of my Honda. I have no place to store them to manage cars. So extremely cost effective to rent them. It is nil.
And the numbers on the cart will go along with the people?
Depends on how Harvey scans it. So what you will get is you'll still get your recycling sticker that has the address on it. Is it on there? It's on this one, sorry. I didn't do a very good man of white. It'll still have the recycling sticker with the address. That just helps the driver identify who's paid and who hasn't paid. Obviously, you can pay for 6 months at a time. So if you don't pay the remaining 6 months, you'll get a letter saying we'll be removing the cart shortly. And it's an opt-in program. This is an opt-in program. This is what we're providing, and this is the price we can provide it for you. If you're not comfortable with the program, you can hire a private hauler. You do not have to join the program. But obviously, the more people that participate, the less cost for everybody. So we encourage you to give it a chance and try it and work with us and hope to provide you a good program.
Great, and I think they've done a pretty good job overall over the last few years, so interested in how this change works out. Mr. Dupre?
Mr. Dupre, 39 High Street. Thank you, Chairman Johnson. I have a question for Mr. Delberville. I think the price, unfortunately, is fair, unfortunately. But what I'm more concerned about is whether or not they're actually recycling their material and not just combining it and throwing it into the trash altogether. I'm concerned, well,
That the recycling's getting in the trash?
I'm talking about mixing your recyclables and your trash.
Absolutely.
I'm very concerned that because China's not accepting this product anymore, and I've done a lot of research in the sense that it's all being combined because there's no market for the recyclables anymore, that we're not just doing this for nothing.
So Mass state law, Massachusetts has a law, it's called Mass State Waste Bans.
Yeah.
The law says, you shall not dispose of X, Y, and Z in your trash, nor shall you collect, transport X, Y, Z in your trash. And X, Y, Z is predominantly your recyclable material. Your cardboard, your glass, your plastic bottles, metal cans, paper, stuff like that, your common recyclables. It's a state law, so what happens when markets get tough and disposal facilities or recycling processing facilities have to stockpile them at their, facilities or whatnot? Sometimes they can ask the state, and this happened right after China stole it, ask the state, can we dispose that of the trash? We have no place to process them. They need permission to do that. So that's a global issue, more so than locally. And our job is to try and make sure that the recyclables are not contaminated so that they do have a marketable product. But definitely.
But if we watch it go into the same part of the truck while they're dumping it in,
It does not go into the same part of the truck. We have a 2-compartment truck that has a slide. And the slide goes like this. So he'll dump the trash, the chute goes down, he'll dump the recycling, and one goes in one side and one goes in the other
so
side.
you feel confident we're not doing this for naught?
I would hope not. I haven't been doing this for 25 years to think.
We have
this is
been,
all
we have been
going on.
too.
But
Just,
Thank you.
one
Sorry.
question at a
Sorry
time.
about that.
I would say that she gave a great answer. There is a state law requiring us to do this part of it. So, it's not our job, sadly, to police where E.L. Harvey or anybody else takes the results. So I think there's
it's
something
a
to that.
global issue for you senators.
Yeah. Ms. Minch?
Mary Minch, 34 Legion Drive. I just wanted to clarify, so we do not put, like, recycling goes loose, item by item in the big one, but in the trash one, it needs to be bagged, or
It
can
needs
it
to be in a bag. It can't be loose garbage in here. And that's, again, when they dump it to help prevent blowing and litter on the side of the road. So you just put, just like I have, you got a little white kitchen bag, you got a smaller bag, you've got a, plastic bags that you can find them in this world anymore that you used to get at the stores. You can fill this up with bagged trash, no tags, whatever fits in here, no tags. So generally, you can get 2, maybe 2.5, 3, depending on how full you put them, white kitchen bags in here, and bathroom bag and that stuff.
Bear in mind, if you jam so much stuff in there that it doesn't dump, which does a pretty good job at it, they're gonna put it back down and you'll be seeing it again.
So
You can't just cram it as
can't.
much as you possible.
Needs to come out.
It's gotta come out.
Ms. Dupre?
Tina Dupre, 39 High Street. I have a question for Deb.
Thank you.
There was a recent change in being able to throw clothes away in the trash. Is that going to be part of the recycling?
So it's been part of that recycling since they did that ban. They banned October and November textiles and mattresses and box springs. The state banned clothing, textiles, and mattresses. Mattresses and box springs we put right up on our website. We worked out a deal with a very cost-effective company. You can call them, pay them directly, and they'll come pick up your mattress and box spring. Prices definitely went up. It's $50 a mattress, $50 a box spring. We have no control over that, but we gave you a viable option. You can also drop it off at various places. Textiles, there's no reason for textiles to go in the trash. There are textile bins all over the place, and again, we advertise that. There's one at the Wood School, there's one at the recycling center, and they are, I think there's one next to the pizza place, they're all over the place. If you use the school or the recycling center, we get a small fee for the tonnage that goes in there, so I would encourage you to use one of the town-sponsored ones. Everything we get helps defray costs in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, gentleman in the back.
Policy for, Kevin, 3 South Street, Kevin Baldwin. What's the policy for multifamily homes, or if you need more than one recycling cart, or?
So we discussed multifamily homes. Our program covers 1, 2, and 3 family households. For a while, we were not charging full price for a 2-family. So we discussed revamping our program, and a 2-family will be charged as 2 individual households. So the 2 and 3 families have the most impact on this price change. So before you were charged 1 3/4 of a single family, now you will be charged the 410 and the 410. So if you get a 2-family, you'll be charged $820, and you'll get 2 trash containers and 2 recycling containers. And the same with the 3-family. You'll have to see if that's a cost, if you want a 2-family house, if that's cost effective for you. Again, this is an opt-in program. We took that into consideration. Private haulers are charging $50, $60 a month. Or more, and I think if you gave the program a try, there's an adjustment, I'm not gonna lie, I mean, it's adjustment for people, this is a big change. It'll work, trust me,
Well, I know you said no to 2 questions, but what if you have a lot of recycling and not much trash? Can you buy it? Like, is rental?
Not at this time, at this time it's going to be 2 containers, 1 for trash, 1 for recycling. We'll look at if there's a need and how many people require an additional container. Additional containers, that means I have to bill separately, there's a lot of other behind-the-scenes pieces that go with that. It may not be cost-effective for us to go into a 2-tiered type billing system with extra staff to manage that and all that kind of stuff. But things that we'll look at, so we need to get a good 6, 8, maybe a year under our belt to see how this program is working, make notes on the changes, if any, that need to be done, and make those adjustments accordingly.
Lou will hate me for this, but I would say that if you try out the program and you find you need more recycling capacity, the Board of Health would love to hear that and know about it, so they can figure out if there's anything they can do about it.
Other big note, anyone who has these larger size containers that were not issued by the town will not be handled with the automated arm. So you're gonna have to put it in an overflow bag. That bag can go in a barrel, but it will not be handled with the automated arm. Unfortunately, these bigger size containers that people have gotten used to using tag the top and not the bottom. And once it's dumped in the truck, it's hard to tell if there's a big tag on it. So in order to keep the program as fair as possible and cost effective, the larger size containers, we won't be able to service them.
Mr. Wyatt, one more question?
Yeah, maybe 2, Jeff.
All this will come out on your info sheet in a couple of weeks.
In a combination. What do you call it? So if you have one of those there and you purchased one just recently at the Lowe's, and it was like $110, you have to put that one aside, call Hobby and use that.
Correct.
Because it's not just Hobby's dumping the one that's bought. They won't want to do it, is that?
They're not going to dump containers that are not issued by them.
By them, even though they're doing it now.
Even though they're doing it now. They will not, once these containers come out, they will not be dumping containers that are not issued by them.
And that's July 1,
And that's July 1.
and you can't put clothes in there.
No.
He hit the bump plot.
And you can't put textiles in there.
You cannot put a lot of things in here. You
No.
can only put your household bottle, can, jar, or jug used for household items.
Or cardboards,
Cardboard and paper, sorry, all mixed in together.
as long as it fits into that container.
Correct.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
It's
Debbie.
like 6 or 7.